Sweets, how are you doing? Welcome to nceling. If this is your first time of coming across this channel, sweetheart, kindly smash that subscribe button and turn your notification so you are notified each time I upload, and please give this video a thumb up. I appreciate you all so much, and I am saying massive shout out to every one of you for the love, the support you all shower me here with. I am grateful. And to all my members, you all are super sweet. I appreciate you all. So today we'll be talking something very important, and it's about Hispanics, Dominicans, and all that, calling themselves out, canceling themselves over Black people. And yeah, what is going on? Okay, actually, I think there was a conference they held, and they asked their president, why is it that racism is so much in their country, colorism towards Black and all that. And then he went further to yarn, he yarned, and yada, and then their people are also dragging them, the ones that actually identify with Black people, right? And then it happened that you all already know what is going on. In their own this thing, like they do not want to associate themselves with Blackness or anything that got to do with Black people and the rest of it. That's why each time you ask them, where are you from? They just claim that, as in someone that look even darker than me will just straight up claim Dominican and not tell you that they are Black and the rest of it, right? So this woman actually came, all of them came out to drag them. And they were even saying that, if you know what I am saying, when you go to Dominican, as hot as it is, you see all of them wearing hoodies because they do not want to tamper with their skin. They do not want to get darker and all that. But the reality is that the colonial masters do not even see you as white. They even grade you the way they grade us. So why are you all wanting to be so, they just want that white supremacy kind of this thing so bad that they are also, refusing to accept the Blackness in them and all that. And a lot of people actually came all out to talk about this, and trust me, they made a whole lot of sense. And I am just going to roll this clip to come back to talk about it. And I absolutely want to read all your comments. Let me know what you all think in the comment section, and straight up.
The Dominican president, Luis Abinader, denying colorism and racism in the Dominican Republic. Let's watch this video.
Yes, please.
Hi, my name is Lizzie George Griffin. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. My question is, the Dominican Republic was established as the Dominican Republic after 300 years of colonial rule, which included the enslavement and massacre of imported African people. Like here, America, and other countries affected by colonialism, the legacy of slavery still lives in its laws and practices. Homophobia and transphobia are racist European concepts enforced on enslaved Africans to increase the amount of African children to be enslaved for monetary benefit. Generational trauma from colonialism and slavery also created colorism that is hyper-present in the Dominican Republic. Colorism, as seen today in the maltreatment of Haitian people, especially pregnant Haitian people already in the DR, so not on the border, along with homophobic and transphobic laws and attitudes, are legacies from slavery. What are your plans to rid the Dominican Republic of the racist attitudes of homophobia, transphobia, and colorism?
Let me tell you, 85% of the Dominican people are mixed race. There has never been an issue of race, a real issue of race.
There's an issue of race.
Well, that's my opinion.
Today.
That's your opinion, and I am telling you.
It's not an opinion, it's something that a lot of people...
But my opinion is that...
A lot of people darker than you could tell you.
Yes.
This should be a respectful exchange of opinions, so please do not...
I would love it to be a respectful exchange.
Yes, so we have never had a problem, of race. In any society, you have a small area that you can have problems. You have it here in this country. You have it here in a lot of other countries, even in the most democratic. That is for any democratic country and that respect and fight for the rights of the people, that's unacceptable. What I am telling you, that's not a white problem in the Dominican Republic, because we are mixed race. Most 85% is a mixed race. We are also daughters or grandsons of immigrants. The situation with Haiti, I don't think that there is any other country in the world that has this amount of statistics about maternity hospital. Could you name just one country in the world that 35% of its maternity beds are occupied by other country people? Just mention one country. There is no one.
United States, I believe.
I don't think United States have 35% occupied by foreigners in the maternity hospital. So, and we are not a rich country. Do we charge anything? You know that we don't charge nothing
women are being removed forcibly and they're being hurt and they're.
Well, that's your opinion, but that's not the real issue that we have there.
You can see the records from.
Well, that's not the real situation.
Yes, it is.
And we are having. Well,
she did not lie. If you go to the publication of the Dominican newspapers and some journalists from the Dominican Republic criticizing her and trying to dig into her life to see what wrong she's done so that they can post about it. If you see their comments, you will see exactly what I'm talking about when I say that the patriotism in the Dominican Republic resembles that of MAGA Republicans here in the United States. Dominicans in the comment section are calling her names, telling her that she shouldn't be talking about the Dominican Republic if she doesn't know, and all of this misinformation that literally proves what she's saying. Because the population, the majority of Dominicans live in this bubble where everybody is telling them you are mostly white, when in reality the Dominican Republic is a black country. The island is a black island. Ever since I started talking about colorism and racism in the Dominican Republic, as a Dominican who grew up in the Dominican Republic, I have all of these Dominicans in my comment section attacking me and claiming that proximity to whiteness. And I can assure you that if you go to the Dominican Republic, you will see that the majority of the people you will see are going to be black people. People who here in the United States, you would consider black people, but they say that they are morenos, they say that they're mulattos, they call themselves whatever name, but not black. And I blame colonialism, not only in the Dominican Republic, but abroad. I blame them because they taught us that the whiter we were, the better we were. And that is the fact, even if most Dominicans are not willing to accept it. And the president said something very interesting, that 85% are mixed race. It's like less than 75%. And when you say mixed race, it's mostly black, by the way. And that is his reasoning behind why there's no colorism or racism in the Dominican Republic. And I have some news for the people who will be attacking me on the comment section and for the president of the Dominican Republic. A country doesn't necessarily have to have more white people than mixed race or black people or colored people for it to be racist or have colorism. And the Dominican Republic is the epitome of colonialism, racism that is ingrained in our culture and our society. And yes, I am Dominican, as you can see, born and raised. And yes, I have dark-skinned people in my family, aka also black people in my family. And yes, I have lighter-skinned people in my family. I'm right in the middle. And having conversations with them, they understand that we are a black country, because when you actually go to the Dominican Republic, you can see it with your own eyes. Where everybody is telling them you are mostly...
Nobody is making up lies about the Dominican Republic and the Dominican people. Go back and watch that video. It's very informative. A lot of Dominican people know it. A lot of Dominican people have admitted to it. Of course, they've lived it. I don't care what they do in their country. I don't care if they decided that they're going to kick out everybody who's this certain shade of dark and you must be this light to stay in this country and be considered Dominican. That's fine. But at the end of the day, don't deny, though. Don't deny the stuff that you do. Don't try to be like, oh, no, we're not colorists. Don't try to say that it's not true that majority of Dominicans don't like to associate with their blackness. Don't deny the fact that a lot of Dominicans don't like the fact that they are part African. Don't ignore the fact that there's clear documentation. There's history that Dominican people did not want to be considered black. They'd rather be considered white, and that they sided with the colonizers so they could feel like they were more better, that they were more accepted in society, in the new world. I don't care if you want to be considered white, But at the end of the day, don't sit here and pretend that this is not the facts. If you want to change it, then change it. But it is happening and it is the reality, so don't deny it. In the DR, people with lighter skin tone are treated better than people who have darker skin tone. They're considered to not be Dominicans, but rather Haitian. So if you are of a darker shade, you are not Dominican, you are most likely Haitian instead. Even if you were Dominican born and raised, even if you have two very light-skinned parents and for whatever reason you actually turn out to be a dark-skinned child, because let's not pretend it doesn't happen. It does happen. So even if that is so, you are Haitian while your parents are Dominican. Wow.
Percent of the Dominican people are mixed race. There has never been an issue of race.
I'm not surprised, but let's get this clear. Repeat after me, y'all. Just because we're mixed race, that doesn't void us from having internalized racism. And if you have internalized racism, you perpetrate racism towards your own people. That means you uphold racism within your own country, your own community, within your own people. Let's say it again. Being of mixed race doesn't void you from having internalized racism, colorism issues, and all the isms that come with it. Think about it. That is the same reason why here in the U.S. you have biracial people. So a child that has a white mom and a black dad, then those children are the same ones that are like, oh, I'm not racist, while some of them don't even look black. And then they say, oh, I'm not racist, I have a black father or I have a black grandmother, while saying like the most racist things about their own people. Literally, there's so many biracial people here in the US and have so much internalized racism. Do we think that just because in DR, because slavery ended 100 or 150 years before here in the US, that we're void from internalized racism? Also, like, let's forget the fact that one of the biggest reasons why there are so many women in DR that are Dominicans and that are going through problems of giving birth is because of colorism and racism. Because if you go to DR, right, and you go to the richest parts of DR, you're going to notice that most of the richest people are of lighter skin. Yeah, they're still mixed, but they are of lighter skin. Do you think that those women are having issues going to hospitals and giving birth? Or is it that the women who are in the most impoverished areas, who are mostly the darker women, are having these issues of giving birth? It's because they don't care. DR doesn't care about people of darker complexion, whether you are a Dominican of dark complexion or whether you are Haitian. And that's the reason why you see a lot of women not being able to give birth. That has nothing to do with the Haitians and everything to do with the government. And I think this is my biggest issue when it comes to this topic in general. I've been talking about this topic for, 3 years since I've been on TikTok. And everybody always goes for Haitians. We always talking about, oh, Haitians doing this and Haitians doing that and Haitians doing this. But we don't want to look at the government, the own president of the Dominican Republic blatantly saying that there isn't any problems with colorism and racism in the DR. When you can clearly go over there and you see the government, and most of the government is made up of high-yellered mixed people. They got your little sprinkles of people who look like me and darker than me. That is the literal definition of racism. When your government, even though they're mixed race, when it comes to the complexion of their skin, like 80% of them are of mixed race, of higher, lighter skin complexion. If 80% of them are of higher, lighter skin complexion, and 80% of the Dominican population is of darker skinned complexion, there is an equality in the country because your government does not look like your country statistically speaking. So let's be for real. Your own government can't even connect the dots between racism, classism, and sexism and patriarchy. Like, all of that stuff is connected. Like, when are we gonna get it? You cannot separate racism, colorism from classism. They are all interconnected, y'all. Let's get it together. It's 2023. There's like millions of books out there that can tell you that. And if you're trying to separate it, you're living in cognitive dissonance. You're living in an uncomfortable situation that you just don't want to talk through because you want to sit in denial. And even if we want to, erase Dominican history, the simple fact that DR is tied to the US so tightly, so intertwined, even from that simple fact and base, you can deduce that there is some racism and colorism embedded within DR just because they work with the US. And the US is inevitably a racist country. And any country that works together with the US is also going to be racist. It's like times two, like historically, and also because they're working with the US, it's like times two racism. On top of the fact that they don't like to unpack it, it's like times three. Let's be real. Let's be real. It is what it is. And the quicker we can get with it, the quicker we can dismantle it and just like stop having the conversation. But until then, we will still have this conversation because we don't want to admit the facts, which is that it exists and it is what it is. If we don't talk about it, it's never going to go away. That's it.
I knew I was going to receive backlash when I said that the Dominican president lied about colorism and racism in the Dominican Republic when he denied it. And I knew that the backlash was coming directly from Dominicans who are now telling me that I'm not patriotic enough because I talk about issues like colorism and racism. This woman, the queen she calls herself, is challenging me to go to the Dominican Republic so she can hit me, so that she can put me in my place. So much for freedom of speech in the Dominican Republic. They are acting like if they were still under Trujillo, the dictator that massacred thousands of Haitians and even Dominicans that were dark-skinned. They were attacking Lizzie because she's not Dominican and she should not talk about things that happened in the Dominican Republic because she's never been there and a bunch of stuff. And now I am Dominican. They cannot tell me that I cannot talk about the Dominican Republic, especially because I was born and raised in the Dominican Republic. And that's what bothers them, that it's a Dominican saying it. And that people like her, who are also Dominican, are talking because they are seeing people like me who are not afraid of talking about the racism and colorism in the Dominican Republic. And to that queen, she calls herself, I dare you to touch me. I dare you to touch me. And I go to the Dominican Republic quite often. Follow me on Instagram if you want to see where I'm at when I'm there. And I dare you to come to where I'm at. That you can afford it, but that's another story. Yes, sometimes I can be petty. That was a petty move, saying that she cannot afford where I go, but she deserves it. And I do admit that was a petty move. But yes, she definitely deserved it. Let's go back to what's important. And there are also people in the comment section saying that I'm always talking against my own people, against my own country. That somebody is paying me to make the Dominican Republic look bad. Because their whole sense of patriotism lies on saying or telling people that their country is perfect. And you are totally wrong, because in my opinion, patriotism is to admit the faults in your country and try to make change for the better. That is being patriotic. That's what being patriotic means. If there wasn't racism or colorism in the Dominican Republic, why is it that people tell you to mejorar la raza, to improve the race, to marry white so that your kids can be lighter skin? Don't you know that that's actually a form of racism? Don't you know that the reason why they call my hair pelo bueno or good hair is because people with afros are considered pelo malo, and they are trying always to straighten their hair to make it look like it's pelo bueno or good hair? The obsession in the Dominican Republic with the hair and the criticisms that people that decide to wear their natural afros go through They're telling people who decide to wear their afros that that's not professional, etc., etc., things that we already went through in the United States and no longer takes place. In some places, it still happens, but it's not okay to discriminate people based on their hair, something that they have no control over. I'm on my way to do something right now, so I'm going to have to continue this conversation later. I'm picking up this lady because we're going to a comedy show. So I'll come back with more about the racism and colorism in the Dominican. Dominicans who deny their blackness and the colorism and racism that exists in our country are trying to get my Instagram account banned. So much for freedom, libertad, that word that is engraved in our flag. Dios, patria y libertad. I guess that doesn't include freedom of speech. And it seems that to them, to those Dominicans, I do not have the freedom to speak about issues in the Dominican Republic. Because yes, we have issues of colorism, we have issues of racism in the Dominican Republic. It's ingrained because that's exactly the heritage that colonialism left us with. And apparently the Dominicans are not ready to take that away and own their blackness, own their history. They are fighting for that proximity to whiteness. They want to say, I'm mixed, we are mixed, we are mixed. Yes, we are mixed. But we are mostly black, and you can see that if you go in the streets and look around. And a lot of those people who are fighting for that proximity to whiteness, who want to ban my Instagram account because I'm speaking up, they are black too. I have people in my comment section saying I am Dominican and I am white, and when I go to see them, to see their profiles, they are not white. Come on, in the Dominican Republic, they tell me that I am white. In the Dominican Republic, I am white. Because white, it's not seen too often. And if I'm already white in the Dominican Republic, imagine a real white person, which we have. We do have those, but they are a minority. And a Dominican trying to make fun of me said, yes, blondie. And I'm like, actually, that's what they used to call me in the Dominican Republic. And sometimes they still call me blondie because to a lot of them, I am a blondie because most of the people over there are black. But yes, I am very disappointed because these Dominicans who are trying to fight me, who are trying to tell me that I'm not patriot enough, who are trying to tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about, even though I was born and raised in the Dominican Republic, even though so many other Dominicans are telling me that they share my experience in the comment section, they are attacking me, they are threatening me, they are telling me that I shouldn't go back to my own country. They are trying to ban my account. They don't feel like I should be able to speak up, to speak whether they agree with me or not. And that's very sad because being here in the United States, you understand how important it is for people to be able to speak freely. How important it is for people to have freedom of speech. And in the Dominican Republic, as soon as you point out something that is racist, instead of going after that is racist, they come after you. Because they don't want you to say those things about the Dominican Republic, because what are they gonna say about us? That's the only thing that they care about, what other people will think of Dominicans, instead of focusing on making the country a better place, an inclusive place, a place where everybody, regardless of color, is treated the same. You all, the group of Dominicans who deny our blackness, who deny me my right of speaking up, you are not patriots and you should be ashamed of yourselves. Dominicans who deny their blackness came for me in the comment section. And as you can see, they want to be associated to the colonizer and not the slaves.
So this is all I got from the stitches. And I mean, this young lady, I have seen a lot of her videos all the time calling on themselves, like especially DRs, telling them how anti-black they are and how racist they are always, especially towards black people. And then it dawned on me that, majority of them are actually black. I mean, their ancestors are black, but they keep denying that their dark part. And all they want to do most times is like, but what? It's just crazy how, in your own country, people are telling you how black you are. Maybe you are not supposed to be black, and then they proceed to tell you that for you to like, you need to like, have a mixed race or mixed this thing so that you won't have all black in your family and all. This is wild and crazy. And that's the reason why, like I have actually brought one video here where you ask them, are you black? They say, no, I am Dominican, Papa. I am not black. No. You see them all the time trying to erase that blackness. And that's why when you see them also in America and all that, and when you see people that look like them and you ask them if you are black, they just straight up deny that they're blackness, but then want to act black. Because I have seen most of them doing black things on TikTok. Some of them, they use the rag, they use the N-word, they use so many things. They talk like everything, every damn thing. But then when you ask them, they deny that blackness straight up. And that is just so disgusting. I went through her comment and a lot of people were like encouraging her and also sharing their experiences. I also saw black people also, telling their experiences with them. So it means even, I don't know, because how are you not supposed to accept black? Because, in that same country, they also have black people, but they always, it's just like, they always segregate them and make them feel like they are not even part of them because you are black. And then when they see someone that is a little lighter, they just want you to accept that you are white. Do not even say that you are not white. They just want to push, you see that white supremacy mentality and all that, how they are trying so hard to be white. But it's just crazy. I don't know, but it's really crazy how people just want to erase like one aspect of them and all that because they want to please the colonial masters and the rest of it. Shit doesn't make any sense. But because in the end, that blackness is just like all over you and you cannot even hide it. Yes, you cannot hide it. But then I am going to say this. If you all are so anti-black, you do not like black, you don't want to do anything with black and all that, stop using black things, stop doing black things, stop saying black things. Erase yourself from anything that got to be black. Because most of them, what they do is, when they see something that is going to benefit them as black, you see them, they claim that straight up. They claim that black side. But then when it's they run back to the side they know how to be very well. Happy, I am not black, I am Dominican, I am Dominican. And the rest of it. Shit really sucks. But then I think you all should get a life because I don't see how people... Anyways, the reality is that black people are actually not asking you all to come and identify with them. But you all already know that you have that blackness in you, but you are denying it. Because why? You want to be so white, you want to be whiter as snow. But then the colonial masters actually know that you are not white. So how did they treat you? They also treat you the way they treat us because you are not white and you cannot be white. So the earlier, the better. This is where I am going to draw the curtain. Thank you so much for the support and see you all in my next video. Bye for now.